The
Yeah.
reason why so many people are loving this movie and like attaching themselves to it is because nobody's looking at it as like, we need to save the world movie. That's not what this movie is.
But that's what he's doing. That's the whole
Yes, no, no,
purpose
no,
of the
that's not,
movie.
but that's not the purpose. I disagree. The
The,
purpose of the movie is not for him to save the world.
what? Why is Ryan Gosling on
First of
that
all,
ship?
he wasn't even supposed to be. Hello and welcome to another episode of X-Rated Films. I'm Jasmine.
I'm Jason.
And today we are actually recording two movies because there were two releases we were excited about this week. The first is Project Hail Mary, and the second is...
Ready or Not 2.
It's actually Ready or Not, Here I Come.
It's actually Ready or Not 2, Here I Come.
That's the longest name.
Yeah, and kind of dumb, but...
Well, let's start with Project Hail Mary.
Oh, snap. This is a highly anticipated movie.
Yes, before we even get into anything, I went to an IMAX screening, which is exactly how I saw it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a pin
Ooh.
for free. We love free things. It says, amaze, amaze, amaze.
Oh,
It's so cute.
sick. That's what the little... we'll get into it.
But that's how I saw the movie. How did you see the movie?
Also in IMAX because, of course...
Good. For visuals.
For the visuals,
So,
and I just love IMAX. Any excuse to see an IMAX movie. I mean, you gotta go.
you want to give us a quick little spoiler-free plot summary?
Okay. So this one's extra hard, all right?
Okay.
You gotta give it to me. This one's a little hard.
For it to be
So-
spoiler-free, I believe you.
Yeah, so what we got here is Ryan Gosling wakes up in a ship.
What? Ryan Gosling does not wake up a ship. Ryland Grace wakes up.
Ryland Grace, played by RG. Both are RG. Never thought of that. Ryland Grace, played by Ryan Gosling.
Wakes up in a ship.
Wakes up in a ship alone and has some flashbacks as to how he got there, which we find out pretty early is because the sun is dying and he is sent on a one-way trip mission to figure out how they can essentially stop this from happening before the world freezes
And humanity dies.
and humanity
to save the world.
dies. Yeah, I could have just said Ryan Gosling's going to save the world, but it's a little more meat to it, and he might have a partner on the way.
Yes.
What'd you think of the movie?
Okay. So we're going to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, we are.
This is a 5-star perfect movie for me. I loved this movie so much. I'm going to just talk right now, not even like anything technical. I want to talk about the feeling this movie gave me.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I woke up the next morning in a good mood because of how much I love this movie. This movie is like built on hope core.
Yeah.
Like it is so hopeful, so endearing, so just like happy and heartwarming and just beautiful. And for me, that's, not typical of, I'm not huge on sci-fi. Not that I don't love sci-fi, just that I'm not like, it's not my preference in terms of genre. Obviously, I tend to go a little more towards the horror genre. But
I think we both do.
for something like this to have like affected me as deeply as it has, I was like, wow, okay, this is like a top movie of all time for me. I love this movie so much. Yes, so much. It really is like, I saw someone actually compare it to like if a Pixar movie came to life.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, you know what? Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's like, let's make a point of good Pixar movie came to life.
Right.
So I think that absolutely is like something that, it really stuck with me. And I'm not a very emotional person, but this movie just like grabbed my heart a little bit. I love this movie so much. So that was just me talking about my feelings on the movie.
Yeah,
But I could talk about all the good.
Well, I want to hear what's...
Some more like technically good stuff. I mean, there's a visual in this film that actually took my breath away. That I literally had to go.
Did it have to do with the planet?
It had to do no,
Oh,
no. I don't want to spoil it,
okay.
but it's a visual, and I'm telling you in the same way, like in Sinners, everyone was hyping up like there's one scene that you're gonna be like, oh my god, and everyone knows what that scene is once you see the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
There's one visual where
The
you're just
dance.
like, oh my god, and I'm telling you, I literally went.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, what brought you to this feeling?
so I mean, there's so much like that happens, but in terms of it being like a sci-fi film, I saw it as more of like a human like character exploration and like just a very like grounded film in the sense of like it is about Ryan Gosling's character building connection. And we see on Earth it's quite hard for him to build connection with anyone. And then when he gets to space and he's able to form like this very important bond, it's a really beautiful film. And
It's really hard to talk about it without talking about the character.
yeah,
Shit.
I feel like we'll get into the spoilers
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that is like a major thing that was so good for me.
I know.
I
The
have
only
so
reason
much
that
to
I
talk
even
about with
think
that.
it's a spoiler is just because everyone else who's reviewing the movie seems to also be saying that it's a spoiler. I don't think it is, but I just want to be fair to anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet.
That's totally understandable. Besides the visuals, I said it's for everyone. One thing that I can say, like technically, just was astounding to me, just because I think it was like helpful in telling the story, was the aspect ratio switch between Earth and space. Because space in this film is terrifying and dark
The
and
scale is
yeah, and it's
incredible.
ominous.
Yeah.
It's like a like this has a lot going on in space in terms of like it's kind of terrifying. Like it's genuinely scary. Like if you think about the way they think about it, and I don't think in many other sci-fi films we look at space as like all that terrifying, more of like an adventure-y kind of vibe to it, whereas this is like, oh, it's deep and dark and there's no way out and there's no way home.
Yeah.
And just flipping between the two made it just feel that much more like expansive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it made honestly Earth feel a lot smaller in a good way of like showing balance about like what it means to actually lose the sun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll hit it again. So that's some good. Yeah. That's like a lot of good without breaking down any spoilers. But one of my main good things is a spoiler. So let's get into your good.
Yeah, I mean, you've touched a lot upon it. I think the scale of this movie is incredible. One thing that I have not mentioned, I think, in pretty much any movie we've reviewed so far, that this one stood out to me the most, and I absolutely had to mention it, was the score. I thought the
Please.
score was incredible. Daniel Pemberton is slowly becoming one of my favorite modern composers. Across the Spider-Verse is one of my favorite animated scores of all time. And he's never worked with Phil Lord, Chris Miller, Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
I want to say yes.
Yeah. And yeah, I just want to make sure. Yeah, Phil. Yeah. Obviously, big fan. Actually, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I am a big fan. I'm gonna throw that out there too, because I knew going into this, they made the 22 Jump Street and Into the Spider-Verse. I
Cloudy
prefer
with a Chance
across
of Meatballs.
and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
You
That's
can't
right.
forget that.
Can't
Cloudy with a
forget
Chance
that,
of
no.
Meatballs is a fire
Oh my!
film.
They also made the Lego movie.
Yeah.
We were talking beforehand the movies that they made, and I completely forgot they made the Lego movie.
They made iconic
So
animated works.
A lot of what I loved in all of their other movies carries over here. This like fun, whimsical vibe. Things are taken seriously when they need to be, for the most part. And the humor works for the most part. I like a lot of what is so good about their other movies translates here. Going back to the visuals, the effects is just astounding. Like watching these sequences in space, the scale. There is one sequence in the third act of the movie that honestly blew my mind. I just was staring at the screen, just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
and
you're just like, how'd they do that?
Yeah, like,
because
to
no
me-
green screen.
To me, I know you weren't. I know this wasn't the scene you were referring to. To me, I was thinking of the scene from Sinners, but during this sequence, very different kinds of scenes. This one is obviously way more intense. But I was glued. I was like, oh my god, thank God I saw this in IMAX. Yeah, I would say that my favorite part of the movie is kind of the spoilery thing. There's a relationship that's built in the movie with a thing and Ryan Gosling's character, Grace. I thought it was pretty beautiful. I thought it was there was a lot of emotional moments with them. I'm trying to not go like too spoiler here. And I really liked the way that that I really liked the way they were solving the issue.
Hmm.
I also really liked the way they discovered the issue. I think they went into the with the sun.
Yeah.
I think they went into a really good detail. I think that's the sci-fi portion of this movie that I think actually worked really well.
Yeah. The science.
Yeah, a lot of the science. Having said all that,
You have bad? I have no. Spoiler alert, I have no bad and no ugly.
yeah.
This is like a perfect movie.
So then I will just take the reins here because I will say I gave this movie a lot of thought. I saw this on Monday. We both saw this on Monday.
Separately.
And I did not realize this movie was going to be as well praised as it was.
Top
And
100 on Letterboxd.
when I saw it, and I mean, she texted me after the movie and said, dude, ... I was like, really? Because I'll be honest, I thought it was okay. I kind of hate that I'm
You're
saying
getting us
that.
canceled. You're getting us canceled. You should have told me this before we were
Should I
starting
say
this.
something political?
You should.
Is that better?
You're getting us canceled right now. I want everyone to know if you decide you don't want to listen to this podcast anymore because of Jason, that's fine. I'll still be here.
Listen, there's got to be someone else out
I
there.
have to fight him on it now. Let's go. Let's go.
I was upset because I wanted to like it as much as everyone else, but
Rewatch it.
I
then.
gave it a lot of thought, and I think ultimately what you said about it kind of being a Pixar movie is, and you specifically said a good Pixar movie, and I have that opinion that I did feel like it was a Pixar movie, but I kind of thought it was one of the lesser Pixar movies. I found this movie to drag for quite some time. I really hate saying this. Like, I'm smiling awkwardly because I'm like, this is
'Cause he's getting
I
us
feel like I have a
canceled.
red dot on my head right now.
I'm happy
but
and not you.
Listen, well, I'm yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. Anyway, it's really hard for me to even kind of like. I'm gonna go into it. I have a lot of negative to say about it. I can't. There's no way around it.
Okay.
I think one of my biggest issues, and I'll compare it to a Pixar movie that I just watched, Hoppers. There is a lot of emotional payoffs in Project Hail Mary with a shockingly small amount of setup.
Hold on. Give me the payoffs. I'll tell you where the setup is.
But one of them is one of the biggest spoilers of the movie, so I can't really say. But
Okay.
so we'll talk more about it in spoilers. But there is quite a few emotional moments that happen in the latter half of the movie, specifically the third act. And I was really surprised that just didn't, a lot of them just didn't hit me. In fact, there was one moment where I was trying to force myself to cry, and because I thought it should be emotional, but I was like, it's just not emotional to me. And it's because there was nothing that really set that up. It just kind of happened, and I was kind of frustrated. I'm like, why couldn't they explain it?
Hold on. I need to know what you're talking about before you get into this because I feel like, honestly, I couldn't see a payoff that wasn't set up. That's another reason why I think this is a
I
perfect
mean, well,
movie.
that's what the spoiler review is for.
Okay.
I will say, like, as spoiler free as I could be, there is there's something that happens to a character in the movie that was emotional, but then something else then happens to them, and there's no explanation as to how that happened. And that's the scene that I was referring to, that I was trying to force myself to cry because it's the exact thing that would make me cry in a movie. And well, I mean, if I cry, I don't cry. Hypothetically, you're talking. Maybe I'll get a little water.
So what else was bad?
Well, that was a big thing for me, is just how many, like, setup and payoffs, where there was setups and maybe no payoffs, a lot of payoffs, no setups. I thought the humor, honestly, and he's just shooting daggers at me right now. I thought the humor was a little much. I'm sorry. I found some of the movie funny. I found a lot of it like a Marvel movie. Ryan Gosling. All right, I'm gonna get into something crazy right now, especially for you. Uh, Anyone who knows me knows that Ryan Gosling is like one of my favorite actors. Like he is in two movies that were absolutely integral to my film journey: Drive and Blade Runner 2049. And I think he's incredible. And also, The Nice Guys was the first time I saw him in a comedic role, which I thought he absolutely nailed. And I think in Barbie too, where he was like the most comedic, I thought he also was the best part of that movie. He kind of got on my nerves a little bit in this movie. I It was something about just how much he was talking and how little it felt like he was getting emotionally affected by this situation that it just started grating on my nerves a little bit. Um and I understand if you look at this through the lens of like a family movie and more of a comedy that it's kind of ridiculous for me to be saying that, but I do think that there's a way to make something funny and whimsical without ever breaching annoyance. And I just felt like this movie sometimes kind of annoyed me a little.
Huh. See, I thought the exact opposite. I was like, well, I'm glad they cast Ryan Gosling because I think he has the charm and the like ability to keep me interested the entire time in what's going on with all this like sci-fi stuff. And the fact that he's alone and he's still like, for most of it, he is alone.
Yeah.
And you're like interested and fascinated by what he's doing. That's how I felt. So I was like, I think this is the perfect person because I could see someone else having this role that wouldn't be nearly as interesting to watch.
When I get to my movie matchmaker, I will in detail explain why I disagree with that.
Okay.
I don't want to say that he's not good in the movie. He's good. He's doing exactly what he should be. I just felt
It's like a
the
career-defining
character
performance.
I don't see it.
That's crazy.
I don't see it. I think he's great in the movie. I just think that his character is just it's just not there's the stakes in the movie feel low because of how silly his character is. And I think that just leads me into another problem that I have with the movie is that it rarely ever feels like there is high stakes in this movie. And I'll tell you why that isn't a spoiler by comparing it to another movie. I know everyone's going to be comparing this to Interstellar. The reason that I am so emotionally wrapped up in Interstellar is because Matthew McConaughey's character has a connection on Earth. And I understand the point in Project Hail Mary is that Ryan Gosling doesn't have a connection on Earth. But it did wind up affecting the movie for me at a certain point because there's decisions that are made towards the end of the movie that I just wasn't invested in because I was like, well, of course he's going to do this because we didn't see anything here. And it kind of reminded me of one of my favorite scenes of all time in Heat. Spoiler for Heat. Not for Project Hail Mary. Spoiler just for Heat. There's at the beginning of Heat, Robert De Niro has to kill this character who did something really bad and missed the opportunity. And so the whole movie, you have in the back of your head how satisfying it would be if you actually see him kill him. Towards the end of the movie, he is home free. He's about to escape the crime life. And then he gets a call with the location of the guy. And he has to decide, is he going to continue his route to freedom or is he going to go off and get revenge? We know the more cathartic thing is to get revenge, but we also don't want to see this character fuck up. He ultimately goes to get revenge, and it's so heartbreaking, but cathartic because that was in the back of our head the whole movie. There's a similar decision in this movie, not revenge-based, but that kind of like, do I go here? Do I go here? And I just thought it was so obvious because of how little connection Ryan Gosling's character has to Earth that there was kind of nothing to me. I was like, well, of course he's going to do that. And
okay, so I think that your problem with this movie, one, you said something about stakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could give a fuck about the stakes of Earth in this movie. That was my whole point. The reason why so many people are loving this movie and like attaching themselves to it is because nobody's looking at it as like, we need to save the world movie. That's not what this movie is.
But that's what he's doing. That's the
Yes,
whole purpose
no,
of the
that's not,
movie.
but that's not the purpose. I disagree. The
The,
purpose of the movie is not for him to save the world.
what? Why is Ryan Gosling on
First of
that
all,
ship?
he wasn't even supposed to be.
Well, and that's another thing. But I have to save that one for spoilers because
Well,
that's
okay.
a big
Well,
reveal.
we
But
need to
that
start getting into spoilers so we can really get into this because, like, let's officially we're in spoiler territory.
okay. All right. Well,
now.
let's just wrap up our overall thoughts then. I agree
Okay.
because there's this most of my issues come from the third act of the movie. So I think I agree with you. But overall thoughts, you obviously love this movie.
Yes, because I didn't look at it as let's have this guy go save the world. I looked at it as a character study on this guy, Ryland Grace, which is also why I had no problem watching Ryan Gosling play this guy for whatever, forming an actual connection. And it's beautiful that it happened the way it did and the way the struggles they go through. Anyways, keep going.
No, no. What's I want to hear your.
I love
thoughts.
this movie. I have no bad or ugly. Go ahead.
I'm done with the spoiler free section.
Okay,
I
so
like I said, most of my issues come in the third act. I want to get into more detail and spoilers. I will just say overall my thoughts. I really enjoyed the relationship between X and Ryan Gosling. The visuals were insane, and there's a third act sequence that I thought was absolutely mind blowing. There is some Earth stuff that I think was really good on the science fiction end. There are some that I thought were honestly kind of boring. Overall, it was kind of a mixed bag for me. I would be lying if I didn't say I enjoyed a good chunk of it, but I unfortunately I overall like I'm just kind of like, eh.
you should rewatch it. So let's get into the spoilers.
Oh, well, what's your rating?
Oh, my rating is 5 out of 5. It's a perfect movie.
Yeah, that's look. Oh, we haven't given a single movie
Yes.
that rating yet.
Here we go. This is a major moment. It's put a ring on it.
I'm gonna give it a high. Keep it casual.
That's a 3, guys.
Because
And if you want to shut this off, I don't blame you.
I think I think it's fine. It's fine to me. It's fine.
This is heartbreaking. I want you all to know there was a reason why this didn't work out, and this is it. It's because he was going to give Project Hail Mary a 3 when it deserves a 5.
Apparently. Yeah. I mean, I envy you for
You should.
for
So
feeling this way about the movie.